Things could be worse. I'm not a fretter, but then there's the curse. Things could be better. My knuckles bruised and my shoulders cut.
Hello and welcome all to Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. I will be your guide and navigator, Mr.E, taking you on this informative journey. Informative of what? We still don't know. But that's why I have had the good fortune to bring along with me the colorful commentary of our internet guru, my good friend Toast.
Butter is optional.
There you go. And to the other side, we have Private Snafu.
Good day, Mr. E. Good day, Toast.
Alright, now we're going to go down a traveling line of science fiction or science fiction and all that kind of good stuff. That's a terrible joke, even with it when there's alcohol involved. I didn't know they made Edmund Fitzgerald. What is it?
It's a beer. It's like a porter, but it tastes like burnt.
Ew.
Yeah. You know, I shouldn't have been expecting much. I mean, it is a beer with a sunken ship. Like, what can you really expect out of it?
Captain Morgan?
I mean, you could say it's a
Admiral
shipwreck. No. Fuck me, right?
Actually, isn't there a rum named Shipwreck?
Probably.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
there was.
I don't drink hard alcohol.
I could
Well,
be
not
wrong.
often. I had scotch once.
Ugh.
The one person...
Oh, wait, I had schnapps once, too. That was pretty
I don't know if
rough.
schnapps counts. Anyway.
I would...
As I say, schnapps is the candy. It's the candy of alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, see, one of the people I know when she was one of the places she was working at, she's like everybody, literally everybody had a bottle of scotch in their desk. It's like literally everybody did.
For the end times, or because their job sucked that much?
Political campaign.
Ah, so both.
Everybody had a bottle of scotch.
I mean, the schnapps that I had were, like, the actual from Germany, from my uncle. And those things, like, I had cherry schnapps, and it tasted like cough syrup. Like,
Ooh.
it was, like, straight alcohol, pretty much, with a little bit of cherry flavor, like the cherry...
Sometimes you're better off going for brands that have actually built off of specifically being that.
Yeah.
Like Dr.
Dr.
McGillicuddy's.
McGillicuddy's is a good schnapps.
Yeah. Or, what's another one? Rumpelmint's. Rumpelmint's, they've exclusively only made peppermint schnapps as far as I know. But
I'm fairly certain they've done some other stuff.
have they? I don't know for sure. Okay.
That's why I said fairly certain they've done some other stuff.
Okay. But that's one that a lot of people still swear by, especially in this state. And this is a state where, what was the Lewis Black joke? More brandy.
More brandy has been drunk in Wisconsin over Christmas than was drunk during the entirety of World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've always kind of wanted to get hammered just to know what it's like. Like, I've...
Ball peen?
Yeah.
Sledge?
Ha, 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 ha. Full out, like, hammered, like, you know?
Trust me when I say that, realistically, you don't need to be there
Yeah,
to have a
but-
good time.
I think Less Than Jake put it best when they said, I think sex is overrated, so is always getting wasted.
Yeah.
Designer drugs and apathy are just too much for me. Something like that.
No, but, like, I mean, getting buzzed is kind of nice. I mean, then you don't have to deal with the constant, I'm shit, like...
Ah, yes. Using alcohol to escape reality. We don't know anybody like that.
Nope. No one whatsoever.
He says as he sips at a apple ale. Oh, well. At least it's not an appletini.
I think they call it a sip when it's down like a throat.
Did you forget what state we're from? That is a sip. Alright, unless anyone has anything else to bring up as a warm-up or an opener, I was going to go for 30 common dream symbols and their meanings.
I brought it up as an opener.
Ah, yes, a church key. Why do they call it a church key?
I believe it was probably based off of a different word.
Oh, so it was some some other word in another language that got misconstrued, you think?
Probably German. I don't know. I've looked it up and then I forgot.
Meh. Alright, so, and this is off of theworldofluciddreaming.com.
Because you can always trust a .com.
Oh, yes.
But screw.org.
I don't trust .gov.
Yeah.
Have you met .gov? She's a nice lady.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. Dreams are like letters from the unconscious mind. If only they were written in the same language we use in waking reality. Fortunately, we do have the ability to study our dreams and interpret common dream symbols, or the common dream symbols they contain. I believe Sigmund Freud had an idea of that at some point during his career. But anyway, although there aren't always hard and fast universal definitions, the following dream meanings can offer a sound starting point to understand your own personal dream meanings. Also, don't forget, before you can interpret them, you first must remember your dreams, for what that's worth. I don't think I can honestly say that I remember my dreams from the last 15 years, if I've had any at all.
I remember a lot of my oddball dreams and a lot of my reoccurring dreams.
Got an example?
Well, once I had a dream where I was in my 6th grade science class. And, we were all sitting around, and the teacher was talking about something, I can't remember what it was, but a kimono dragon comes in and bites me. And I didn't react, I was just like, oh, okay.
So, passive indifference.
Yeah.
Oh, this is happening now. It's a thing.
Granted, I used an expletive there, but I didn't, shout. I was just like, well, this is a thing now,
now
I didn't
I'm
know
sitting
how...
in this chair.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't react. I was just like, okay, moving on.
All right. Any that you specifically remember?
I've had ones that I remember, but I don't remember any at the moment. Normally I will remember them for 5 minutes afterwards. Sometimes for half the day, and then gradually reality.
Right. Either you two considered keeping a journal? I know that's a thing some people do. Yeah.
I've kind of thought about it, but then I just never got to it because my handwriting's bad and I just don't care enough. There's certain ones that I remember, and then there's other ones where I'm like, and why? Why did this happen?
Oh, one of those where you wake up and go, what in the hell was that?
Yeah.
I've had a couple where when I wake up, I just go, well, that was weird. Not in the, that was weird, just the, that's different.
Yeah, see, now, I've had those, but I can't recall any specifically, and it's been a very long time since I can honestly say I remember dreaming.
I'd say one of my favorite, it's not my dream or anything, but one of my favorite questions, I guess you could say, about a dream actually comes from John Dies at the End.
Okay.
Which again is a movie I've mentioned before. Great. Mm-hmm. Can't call it a great movie, but it's a good movie because the guy's talking, to another character, and the guy's like, well, it's like I'll interpret your dreams for a beer. I could do it like the guy actually says it in the movie, but I can't do a fake Jamaican accent.
Uh-huh.
But he's like, I'll interpret your dreams for a beer, and the guy's like, yeah. It's like, I'll do it like Daniel in the Bible, because that's actually where a lot of not where a lot of dream interpretation comes from, but that's where a lot of people see it for the first time. Apparently, Daniel interprets Pharaoh's dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically, he tells him, Pharaoh tells him his dreams, and Daniel basically says, okay, your dream means that, we'll have 7 good years, followed by 7 years of famine. And that for you to be a good leader, you have to be prepared for the 7 years of famine. Okay. So what Pharaoh does is he decides, well, this guy hasn't done me wrong yet, because he's done a couple of other little things. He's like, I'll listen to him this time. Kind of I don't quite believe him, but I'll listen to him, because it's a good idea. And they build granaries. So now the granaries around Egypt were actually fairly famous for certain cities.
Uh-huh.
But then what it is 7 years, people are like, oh, we got great crops, and then they keep storing stuff. They're like, well, why are you storing so much of it? They're like, yeah, give us time. And then there's 7 years of famine. Well, because no one's really producing anything, Pharaoh's like, okay, here's the grain.
Yeah, let's open up the granaries.
Basically, he's pouring out for people. People are like, hey, you're a good leader. You know, you prepared for this. And so basically that's one of the reasons he thanks Daniel, and it eventually leads to, you know, some stuff going right for the Jews before they finally leave Egypt.
Okay.
But anyway, the whole thing, as like I said, the guy makes the comment about, you know, I'll interpret your dreams, and he starts telling the main character about a dream he had. He's like, you know, your dream last night, what is it? He's like, you know, you come home and your girlfriend Amy is there. I think it's Amy. Uh-huh. He's like, and you walk in and there's a pile of cartoon dynamite in the middle of the room in one of those giant, one of those giant plungers. It's the music builds a tension, and the fact, you know, and as they keep cutting back to the main character, as he's just sitting there going, how does he know this? 'Cause he's like, he's dead on. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know, both about, you know, about how it was, you know, who was in it, and, you know, the setup. And, you know, he's like, you get home and you ask her, what are you doing? And her response is this, as she pushes down the plunger. Just as the explosion hits, you hear thunder outside. And he's like, now, what happened first? Was the explosion in your dream before you heard the thunder? Or did your mind hear the thunder and work it into your dream?
Oh, you mean like some people do with their alarm clock?
I says, but the thunder happens a second after he wakes up. So it's the... Was it the fact, you know, did his mind make up, you know, basically say there's going to be an explosion and then it was coincidental that there was thunder? Or did his mind know beforehand there was going to be thunder? It works into the rest of the movie, but it's one of those questions, because if you ever had that where you wake up, you know, like 10 seconds before your alarm goes off.
Right.
Did you wake up because your alarm is about to go off? Or did you wake up because your brain says, I'm going to wake up? And you just happen to wake up before your alarm. Okay,
so it's the argument of anticipation of reality versus coincidence?
Well, in the movie, they're talking less about anticipation of reality, but more precognition, actually. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, it comes into play later in the movie. But it really is that moment of when you're dreaming. You know, does your subconscious or your conscious or whatever's actually doing the dreaming, does it actually work in the actual surrounding cues?
Okay.
Because, I mean, it would make sense if in a limited sense they were, because, you know, let's say back in the day, or, you know, say things go wrong, if you have at least a limited awareness of your surroundings while you're asleep, if something is sneaking up on you, your brain can go, I need to wake up right now. And in the dream, you go, something's going to happen. And when you wake up, you're not like, wait, what's going on? You go from, you know, this is going on in my dream to awake, followed by something is going on, I need to pay attention.
So fight or flight mechanism, but activating mid-dream to put you in an awake state? Interesting.
Right, but like I said, a lot of it's just the... I mean, if you are actually picking up on I'll say, you know, environmental cues. Right. If you pick up on just enough of it, I mean, it's kind of like when people have dreams related to, you know, to water when it's raining outside. Okay. You know, or if it's cold out, you're more likely to have a dream about colder temperatures, that sort of thing. Right. Even though I've also known people where if it's cold out, they have a lot of blankets on, or they turn the heat up, so they actually dream of warm because they're too hot. Right. And then they find them, and then when they wake up, they find that like they've kicked the blankets off.
Right. Now I've actually I've got a few instances of that where it's either your body following cues from a dream. I have two instances of that I can talk about. Another one, though, that I can immediately talk about is one that my mother told me about, where she had a dream where she was dreaming in the third person. The reason that this is important is because in the dream she had been murdered. Uh-huh. And all the cops could keep talking about, instead of talking about clues or motives or anything like this, was how horrendously messy her room was. So she woke up and got halfway through cleaning her whole room before she realized, what the hell am I doing?
You're cleaning your room for fictitious mind cops.
Right! So, there's that. Another instance I could say is I had a dream when I was 7.
Is that what Martin Luther said? Also not what Martin Luther King said.
Yes. Where... for the purposes of telling the story, I'll tell you guys this. Until I was about 8 years old, I shared a bunk bed with my younger sister. And So she was on the bottom bunk, I was on the top bunk, you know, because we're kids at the time. We don't need our own room. And I had a dream where I fell down a flight of stairs, and my body reacted by kicking me out of the top bunk.
I believe it's referred to as a myoclonic jerk.
Is that the name?
So.
I've never even heard of it. But
it's also something funny enough that you should mention it that way from Rhett and Link's thoughtful guy. One of the thoughts there is when you jerk awake when you're sleeping, when you fall in a dream, it's like, is that a response for a dangerous thing, or when you're sleeping on a cliff, or when you're just top bunking.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, but I've been having like this weird thing where I wake up twice. It's always the exact same dream at the exact same time. Once I'll have a dream at 3:45 in the morning and I'll wake up. It's always the exact same thing. And then once at 5:28 in the morning, it's always the same dream, same order, same thing happens every single morning. Like, and then I fall back asleep shortly.
As a strange question, does that also follow through with daylight savings time?
No, I don't think so.
So you're an hour off already, because we're into daylight savings time now, aren't we?
I don't know if it's starting.
All right, well, on that note of fact, validation, and verification, any other shuns we should add to that? Parting words, Snafu?
I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Okay, and Toast?
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right, then. Once again, this has been your navigator and guide, Mr. E. Thank you for joining Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. So that's it.